We are now going to solve quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula, remember, says if we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, if this, then x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So the first thing we do is identify our a, b, and c, and then we plug them in to find our answer. So let's start with an example. X squared minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. In this case, a is 1, b is negative 4, and c is negative 12. So when we plug this in, x equals minus a minus 4 plus or minus the square root of minus 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 12. Let's close that parenthesis, all over 2 times 1. Well, that's minus 4 is 4, plus or minus square root of minus 4 squared is 16. 4 times 12 is 48, a negative times a negative, that's plus 48 all over 2. 16 plus 48 is 64. So we get 4 plus or minus the square root is 64 over 2, which is 4 plus minus 8 over 2. 4 plus 8 over 2 and 4 minus 8 over 2 becomes 12 over 2 or 6 and minus 4 over 2 or minus 2. So the answer to this equation is x is the set minus 2 comma 6. Now notice, if you look carefully, this would have factored and it would have given me the same two answers. So we can use either method here to solve this problem. As a further example, suppose we have the equation y squared minus 7 equals 4y, and that's a big 7. Well, the first thing we have to do is put this in standard form. So this becomes y squared minus 4y minus 7 equals 0. Here, a is 1, b is negative 4, and c is negative 7. So we come back to our formula, and we say y equals, notice I changed the x to a y for the formula, minus a minus 4 plus or minus the square root of minus 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 7, all over 2 times 1. Well, that means y is a negative minus a minus 4 plus or minus 16 plus 4 times 7 is 28. That's a negative times a negative, all over 2. 16 plus 28, 28 is 44, so y equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 44 over 2. Since this isn't a perfect square, we get y equals 4 plus or minus, it breaks down as 4 and 11, 2 square roots of 11 over 2. And this part's important. Notice that the 4 and the 2 both let the 2 go in evenly, so I can only do this because this 2 goes into both. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so y equals 2 plus or minus 2 divided by 2 is 1, the square root of 11. So my answer is 2 plus or minus the square root of 11, or in set notation we get 2 minus the square root of 11 and 2 plus the square root of 11. Those of you using MyMathLab, this will happen every time that you need to type in two separate answers. One final problem just to finish showing the formula. Suppose we have x squared plus 16x plus 64 equals 0. Well, here, again, a is 1, b is 16 this time, and c is 64. Notice it's already in standard form, so we're ready to go. X equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Well, this means x is minus 16 plus or minus the square root of 16 squared is 256. And 4 times 64 is 256, all over 2. X equals minus 16 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2, which is minus 16 over 2, which is minus 8. So again, we only get one answer, negative 8, and it turns out that this is a perfect square trinomial, and because it's a perfect square trinomial, it only gives one answer. So that is how we use the quadratic formula to solve a quadratic equation.